Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this special motivational session of the Reputation Today online conclave. We have over 70 registered participants joining our live session today. Those who missed registering can also catch the live streaming of the session on YouTube. A recording of the same will also be available by tomorrow on the Reputation Today YouTube channel. These are unprecedented, tough, and gloomy times. And sometimes a motivational talk is all that we need. Our guest today is someone who has seen tougher times than probably most of us here. Not just tough times, she has cheated death more than once and has come out victorious. Please welcome Virali Modi. Virali is a model and a disability rights activist who spent most of her youth in the US. But after a visit to India, she contracted malaria and entered into a coma, and a long drawn battle for life ensued. She recovered, but ended up paralyzed. Today, among other things, including sharing her story, she will talk to us about how every dark cloud has a silver lining. Virali, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Anubhuti. And thank you to everyone who's here right now, who's watching this live stream. And I really just hope that you are all safe and sound. So my journey starts in the US. I was born in Mumbai. I was raised in America for most of my child life. I was never on a wheelchair before. I was a dancer. I learned Bharatanatyam. I was a swimmer. I was into sports. And then suddenly in 2006, in the end of July, beginning August, I went to India. And after coming back from India, I started getting the symptoms of malaria. The doctors could not diagnose, they could not understand what was going on with me. I was having fevers that would skyrocket to 102, 103 degrees, headaches, I would feel cold, I would feel hot, shivering, all of the symptoms of malaria. We went to my pediatrician. I was only 14 years old at that time. And the doctor basically said that it was a seasonal fever and that I could just take a paracetamol and everything would be totally fine. I would take the medicine and once the effects of the medicine would wear off, my fever would skyrocket to 103, 104 degrees. Obviously, that really frightened my parents and I, and we went to the emergency center in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. They did all of their routine testing. They did an MRI, CT scan, blood work, urine culture. Everything was negative. They then decided to do a spinal tap, which is basically when they insert a needle into the spinal cord and remove fluid to test for neurological ailments. That was also negative. They again sent me home on paracetamol. And even though my mom told them that I'd gone to India and I might have had malaria, since all of the tests were negative, they could not give me any medication for that. I went home that evening, and the next morning, my mom came and she woke me up. And as soon as she ran her hand over my head, I woke up and I started hallucinating. I could not recognize my mother anymore. And I kept telling her that you've kidnapped me, you've taken me hostage, you need to take me back home. Who are you? Why did you bring me here? And she was left aghast. Obviously, she was very frightened. She said, Beta, I'm your mother. How can you not recognize me? I was like, my mother's dead. You are not my mother. Take me back home. So I went back to sleep. She said, okay, go back to sleep. When you wake up, I'll take you home. My grandmother came. She woke me up and I was totally normal. So my grandmother said that I had to go to the hospital again because the fever probably had gone to my brain and created swelling. My mom said, "ठीक है, you get up, get freshened up, we'll go to the hospital." As soon as I got up to walk, I started limping. I was not able to walk properly. And when I went to the washroom, I could not urinate anymore. I could not pass my urine. They rushed me to the emergency center. They removed the urine from my bladder and they transferred me to a bigger hospital called Hershey Medical Center. They did an MRI there in the basement and they saw a little shadow behind my neck. So they rushed me to the seventh floor to do another spinal tap. At that point of time, everything was totally normal with me. I was having minor seizures, But it was nothing that the doctors gave me medicine for. I was totally normal. I was talking, I was laughing. They took me to the testing room. I laid down. I turned on my side. They did the spinal tap. And as soon as I came on my back, my blood pressure skyrocketed to over 200, and the normal is 120. And I vomited. Half of the vomit went into my lungs, half of it came out. And I had a seizure that lasted for 20 seconds. Because of the vomit that went into my lungs, I went into respiratory arrest. And because I couldn't breathe, I went into cardiac arrest. I was declared dead for 7 minutes. My heart was not working. I could not breathe. The doctors paged code blue, and the ICU doctors and everyone came. They tried giving me shock therapy and tried to revitalize my heart. But my heart, the pulse would not just come back. The ICU doctor came and he said, I'm going to try this for the last time. And if Virali does not come back into her senses, then she will be have to we will send her body to the morgue. He tried for the last time. He shocked my heart at 300 volts and finally got a minute heartbeat back, but they could not get my breathing back. They transferred me to the ICU. They put a ventilator through my mouth. I was on a breathing tube. I came into my senses that night. I could point at people. I just couldn't talk because of the tube, but I was totally in my senses. I was totally fine. The next day, they took me in for another lumbar puncture, another spinal tap, and I went into a coma for 23 days. During the coma, I was declared dead two more times, so three times in total. The second time, I lost so much blood that my hemoglobin went below 3, and the doctors still have no idea why that happened. They gave me 3 units of blood, and my hemoglobin would just not regulate. The doctors gave up hope and they declared me clinically dead once again. And after 40 minutes, miraculously, my hemoglobin regulated all on its own. And the doctors still have no idea why I lost so much blood in the first place, how it regulated all on its own. And they're just so confused about everything. The third time, my body temperature went below 90 degrees Fahrenheit. The normal is 98.6. The doctor said that I was again declared clinically dead because I could get hypothermia and I could literally freeze to death. So they piled heated blankets on me. They surrounded my bed with heated lamps. They waited for another 40 minutes. They took everything off. My body temperature would not regulate. Again, confusion. Why did it happen? And why did the heated blankets not work? They gave up hope. And again, 30 to 40 minutes later, my body temperature regulated all on its own. Now, the 21st of September, the doctors had a meeting with my mother and father. They stated that I would not survive because there is no improvement and there just didn't seem like any chances of me surviving. Now, one thing that you all should know is my mother during this whole ordeal was very, very strong. She never gave up hope. She was very positive that I would survive. And she was very optimistic. Anyone that would cry or anyone that would crib, she would kick them out of my hospital room. And she would say that she didn't want the negativity. That day, when the doctor said that they wanted to pull the ventilator, pull the breathing tube, my mom fell to the floor and grabbed the doctor's feet and she started crying. And she cried so much that she made his shoes wet with her tears. And she said that Virali's 15th birthday is coming up on the 29th of September, and I want to celebrate it. And I'm going to call all my family members, and you have to give me permission. So they were like, what kind of mother are you? Your daughter is fighting between life and death, and you want to celebrate her birthday. Are you crazy? She said, yeah, I am crazy because this is my only child. And this is my last wish. My daughter, according to you, is dying. And I want to celebrate her birthday. But I know that she'll come out of a coma. I don't care what you guys say. She's going to survive. And when she comes out of the coma, she's going to ask me, what happened to my 15th birthday? And I want to show her a video and photos that I celebrated your birthday despite you being in this situation. The doctors went to the dean of medicine. They got the permission, but there was only one condition. My mother had to sign a consent form stating that if on the 29th of September by midnight, if I did not survive, they would pull the plug on my ventilator. So basically, my mother that day signed my death certificate without even knowing if I would survive or not. And on the 29th of September, we called all of my family members, approximately 70 to 75 people. We decorated the ICU room with balloons and, streamers and confetti, and just like a child's birthday. Everyone was there. There was a birthday cake. And at 3 or 5 p.m., that's the exact time that I was born, my dad took my hand and everyone is singing happy birthday. And as soon as I cut the cake, I opened my eyes. I'm staring at the ceiling. Everyone is cheering and clapping, and the doctors come in. They do an evaluation of me and they hug my mom and dad. And they tell my mom that you saved us from committing a sin. Your daughter is going to survive. There is chance of improvement. After about 20 to 30 minutes, I closed my eyes and I went back into a coma. My family was very frightened, very scared of what would happen. But the doctors were very optimistic. They said that Virali, she's opened her eyes once, so there is a 100% chance that she will come out of this coma. On the 5th of October 2006, they took me into the operating room. They took out the breathing tube from my mouth and they inserted it through the neck. I have a scar right here. And after the anesthesia wore off, I came out of my coma. The doctors were actually scared that I would have some kind of mental issue. I would either be brain dead, I would have amnesia, or I would be mental or some kind of mental disability. Everything was totally fine mentally. I just couldn't talk because of the breathing tube, but I could recognize everyone. I could just make out people. Everything was totally fine with me mentally, except for the fact that I was paralyzed from the neck down. My hands and all, they were not working at all. And I didn't know that I was paralyzed. No one told me. My grandmother, after I shifted into rehabilitation, that's when she told me. And when I found out, acceptance was never an issue. I always felt that, medicine, it's always evolving. There is something new. I've studied medicine a bit. My family friends are all doctors. I would steal their books, I would read about it. And so I was very optimistic that I would recover. I never had that sense of negativity or that sense of like, why did God do this to me or why did this happen to me? It was totally fine. I went back home after about a month, spending a month in rehab. I went home, and that's when the severity of my paralysis actually hit me. What happened was I tried contacting my friends, and they just stopped talking to me. They just basically said that I was a burden and that they didn't want to hang out with me. That led me into depression because I thought, why would someone want to judge me because of my disability, something that's not my fault? And that led to a lot of anxiety, suicidal thoughts, not wanting to live, depression, and I even tried committing suicide by swallowing a lot of painkillers. I was admitted in the hospital and I survived. After coming back, my mother, she really taught me an important lesson about self love. She said that you cannot expect other people to accept you and to love you unless you accept and love yourself. And the only way that you will do that is just by believing that things will be better, by involving yourself in activities that you love to do. And once you do that, once you are comfortable with being alone, you will not need other people. And when other people come into your life, it will just be so special and so precious. But it won't matter if they're actually there or if they're not there. It won't matter because you will be so satisfied with just being by yourself. Obviously, I was only 15 years old. I took it with a grain of salt because mom hai, to mom ki to you're a teenager, you don't listen to your mother, right? So I took it with a grain of salt. I started reading self-help books. I started reading The Secret, which was very monumental. It was life changing for me. Initially, I kind of thought it was a little weird. I really didn't want to believe in it. I thought it wouldn't work. But then I said, you know what, let's just give it a try. I tried the power of positive thinking, of visualizing what I wanted. And since my fingers were not working, my hands were not working, I started visualizing that my hands are working, my fingers are working. After about 15 to 20 days of visualization, of positive thinking, miraculously, my fingers started working, my hands started working. Of course, I was doing physical therapy, I was doing occupational therapy, but it was so amazing that this just happened. And I became so much more confident that, okay, if I can do this with just the power of thought, if just with the power of positivity and optimist and being just optimistic, I was like, the world is my oyster. I can accomplish anything that I put my mind to. Now, that was the time when I shifted to India in 2008. And that was when the truth and the vastness of inaccessibility actually hit me. In India, we all know that nothing is accessible for people with locomotor disabilities, especially. We don't have ramps, we don't have anything. And I needed to travel to Delhi via train for an Ayurvedic treatment. And as soon as I got to to this train station in Bombay, there was a ramp there, but ramp pe khadde the. There were potholes on the ramp, and there were people sitting there. There were beetle leaf stains, there were urine stains there. And as soon as I got out of the car, there were like 10 people surrounding the car, just staring at me as if I was a clown that has escaped the circus. And I felt so small, so little. And I got to the platform, I got near the compartment of the train, and I thought that, you know what, there has to be a portable lift or a ramp or something, that there has to be. There wasn't. My mom actually told the porters to lift me up and to transfer me to my berth. Now, these porters were my father's age. They were looking at me in a very disgusting manner. And I was literally feeling as if I was being molested just through their eyes. And so one person comes and he lifts me up from underneath my shoulders, the other lifts me from underneath my knees. And as soon as they lift me up, the guy that was holding me from my upper body, he wraps his arms around my chest as soon as we get inside the compartment of the train. Everyone sees what's happening. This person is molesting me, he's groping me in public, and there's pin drop silence. No one is saying anything, no one is raising their voice. Everyone is seeing what this man is doing to me. And I had tears in my eyes. And I was scared. I thought, if I raise my voice right now, what if he drops me? What if he drops me on the floor, runs away? Who's going to help me? Obviously, these people will not help me if they cannot even raise their voice, and I cannot expect that. So I decided to keep mum. I kept silent. And when they shifted me to my berth, I had tears in my eyes and I looked up at him and I said, thank you. And I did not tell my mother. This happened to me 3 times in total: 2008, 2011, 2013, all in Bombay. We think of Delhi as being the rape capital of the country. And having this happen in Bombay, where Bombay is considerably safe, it's harrowing. And I never filed a police complaint. I never said anything to anyone because I was very scared of being slut shamed. I was very scared of, what if people will say, why did you have to take the train? Why couldn't you just go by car? Why couldn't you just go by plane? I was scared that I would be slut shamed and I would be blamed, or my mother would be blamed, because my father's in America, he's working. So I didn't say anything. And then in 2014, I was always interested in modeling and acting. I actually did a professional modeling course in America when I was 14 years old. And I wanted to get into the industry because I always felt that this diversity was really needed in Bollywood. So I got the opportunity to go to Miss Wheelchair India 2014 as a pageant contestant. And I won second place in that. So after winning second place, I was very excited and I thought, this is the time to actually go into Bollywood. This is the time to make my mark and to break stereotypes. And I was only let down. I went for auditions and everyone would say that, you're beautiful, you have the looks and your skills are, your talent is good, you have acting skills, you're perfect for this role. But the problem is that you're unable to walk, so we can't cast you. And so again, I was let down by my disability because I was unable to do something. At that point of time, I started writing on Quora.com also, talking about disability, disability awareness, positivity, the power of positive thinking, the law of attraction, just a lot of these topics. And that's where I started creating a fan base. I currently have over 100,000 followers, 130,000 followers there. I was named as the top writer for 5 to 6 years in a row consecutively. Um, and it's just been amazing connecting with people and understanding their ideology and their morals and their values. From that point on, in 2015, when our Prime Minister launched the Accessible India campaign, that was monument, that was historical for India because nothing is accessible. And I was so excited. I thought finally the government is listening to us. Finally, the government is listening to our community. And I was just waiting for changes to be implemented. And then in 2016, at the end of 2016, the Disability Rights Bill passed. And in 2017, early on, the Tejas Express, a train which was directly from Mumbai to Goa, if I'm not mistaken. It was a direct train, and it had facilities for those who are visually impaired who are hearing impaired. But there were no facilities for people with locomotor disabilities. So that really irked me because I started getting PTSD because of my experience. And I thought, this is the perfect time to actually talk about this and to raise my voice. The government is listening, the government is active on social media. Let's raise my voice. And I wrote an open letter to the Railway Ministry and to the Prime Minister's office on Facebook and Twitter. And it was published widely across newspapers and portals. The government did not say anything about it. So I decided, and this was the time when the government was very prominent in responding to people online, especially the Prime Minister. And I, I was so irked and I was so pissed off, for the lack of a better term. And I filed complaints at the PMO's website and on the Railway Ministry's website. I didn't get any response back from the PMO, but I got a response back from the Railway Ministry saying that this complaint does not pertain to this particular ministry, and your complaint has been forwarded to the Ministry of External Affairs. And that pissed me off beyond anything. So I decided to start my own campaign and my own petition called #MyTrain2 for accessible Indian railways, petitioning the Prime Minister's office, petitioning the government of the Ministry of Women Empowerment and Health, and petitioning the Railway Ministry. Currently, that petition has over 2 lakh signatures. A railway official from Kerala got in touch with me, and collectively across India, we have made 8 stations totally wheelchair accessible without any kind of renovations, just by implementing portable ramps and small aisle-sized wheelchairs that can fit into the compartment of the train. And we have sensitized the porters and the railway officials through local NGOs. Surprisingly, we did not have to pay a single rupee. Everything was donated. Uh, a lot of the projects were CSR initiatives. And because of that, I won the Women's Achievement Award by Delhi Commission of Women in 2017. I was also named as one of the most influential and inspirational women of 2017 by BBC 100 Women. I have won collectively throughout the years from 2017. I have won approximately 15 to 16 awards so far for my activism and for my motivational talks. Through that campaign, I started my motivational speaking career, and I have given 3 TEDx talks so far. I've spoken internationally. I've spoken all over the country at multiple corporates, colleges, NGOs, schools, and events just to empower people. And in 2018, like I said, I wanted to be a model, I wanted to be an actress. I had the wonderful opportunity of shooting with Salman Khan for the Being Human campaign. And that was just amazing because I've always wanted to meet Salman Khan. I was never a big fan, but I've always heard that he is very helpful to people, and he um, is very he's helpful towards people with disabilities. That's what the Being Human Foundation is all about. So I always wanted to meet him, and it was very fun because we pranked him. I pranked him actually. I pranked Salman. So it was very, very fun. And then in 2019, I was the showstopper for 4 different fashion shows for Bombay Times Fashion Week, for FBB at a function called Spark for their spring summer collection. I was also the showstopper for Viviana Mall's initiative called hashtag Respect Women on Wheelchair, and at Jewels of India in Pune. Apart from that, I have also been running multiple campaigns. I've running a campaign called hashtag Fly with Dignity, just because there is a lot of insensitivity when it comes to um, the CISF in terms of getting checked manually, and another campaign currently because of the coronavirus called hashtag Disability on Lockdown. A lot of people, the elderly and the disabled who are living alone, they do not have the access to their caretakers because of the lack of transportation. So currently we are trying to work with the government, get these ID cards, government ID cards issued for these caretakers, to get them to patients' homes so they can get their care and their well-being. This whole journey has been so up and down for me. It has been so amazing. I've met so many wonderful people, and I just want to really thank everyone that's helped me reach this far and to be the person that I am right now. And I just want to thank you guys so much for being here and just for listening. And I'm open for any kinds of questions, anything. I'd really love to interact with you.
Wow, wow, Virali. I really have no words on everything that I heard about you, your story right now. But I'm going to pick up a few words that you've used. You know, words like positivity, optimism, being brave, being strong. I mean, it's brilliant that in spite of having faced so much, you are still here with a smiling face, and you know, it's so good to see you. So
Thank
you've probably seen far worse than a lot of people that we would know, and also far worse than the situation that we are in right now, owing to this pandemic. So, how do you keep yourself motivated? I mean, what kept you going, and what keeps you going? If you could just share that with us.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much for the question. First of all, I want to say that any problems, you cannot compare problems like my problems or your problems. I cannot compare them, and you cannot compare them, because everyone's problems and their difficulties, it's equivalent to what they can face. So whatever I'm enduring right now, you may be able to cope up with that and excel with amazing colors, with rainbows, right? Maybe what you're dealing with right now, maybe I will not be able to cope up with your personal problems. But despite that, what keeps me motivated, honestly, is interacting with my supporters and the people that are following me by doing engaging videos, by going live on social media platforms, by reading their comments and their messages. That truly brings me motivation and inspiration, knowing that I've impacted their lives, and that makes me want to continue doing more.
You seek your strength from an individual? Is it family, friends? Whom do you seek
My
your?
my mother, my mother, my mother unfortunately passed away last year due to cancer. But my mother has always been that one person who's always told me to look at the brighter side of things, who's always told me that I shouldn't care about what people have to say. I should just mind my own business, and I should just do what I feel is right. I am not obligated to give anyone an explanation. And So whenever I think of her, I think of these words, and I think of, if I'm facing a situation, I think, what would my mother do in this situation right now? And I can literally hear what she has to say, and I can hear her words. So my strength definitely comes from my mother and from her values and morals that she's given to me.
How lovely, how beautiful. So, just to tell all our participants right now who are live, if you want to ask a question, you can just raise your hand or type the question in the Q&A box, and we can pick it up from there. So, like you said, Virali, your mother always said to look at the brighter side of things, no matter what the
Yeah.
situation. Right now we are going through this really tough time because of the pandemic, and because the entire world has been gripped under it. So, do you think there is any positive in the situation that we are in currently?
Yeah, I do. Honestly, I do. I think, you know what? This is like a rebirth. It's a rebirth if you think about it, right? Just imagine the whole world coming at a lockdown, at a standstill. Right now is the perfect time to become productive. And it's the perfect time to reconnect with people that you've lost contact with because of our busy schedules, because we're just so tied up in our own lives that we tend to forget the people that we were once connected with. So I think this is the perfect opportunity to pick up that habit or that hobby that you always wanted to do, to talk to people that you've lost contact with. It's the perfect time to do positive things. I know that a lot of people tend to get into a negative situation when it comes to lockdown because you're not able to meet your friends and your family. But this is the time to channel that negative energy and create something beautiful and something positive out of it. So I really think this is a positive time, and you can really use this in a very productive way to create something impactful for your life or for others.
That's the silver lining on the dark cloud. Brilliant. That's amazing. So we just had one question coming in from one of the participants who wants to know that I'm sure negative thoughts do cross your mind at times. There are days that would be negative, that would bring around negativity around you. So how do you handle those days? What do you do then?
So one thing that I want to share is, after my mom's passing, I have been diagnosed with depression. I've been diagnosed with PTSD. I have not been taking medicine. I've been going for therapy. It's been helping. Counseling, grief counseling. It's been really helping. And yeah, I do get those days where I just want to stay in bed. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to do anything. I'm feeling very negative. I'm feeling like the world is a very bad place. I don't want to be like here in such a negative space. But then I think, you know what? I have come through so much. I have impacted so many people's lives. This too shall pass. This is just a phase. And I need to get out of this phase. And what really helps me is exercising and working out, and that adrenaline rush. It just helps me get into a positive mood.
Right. So exercise is one of your happy regimen, if I may say. What else makes you happy? What is it? What else do you follow to keep yourself happy and maybe energized and cheerful?
So currently, what I've been doing is, since we're isolated, my friends and I, we video call and then we play Ludo online. So what's been really making me happy is cutting someone's goatee. To be very honest, playing Ludo has been making me really, really happy these days, interacting with my friends this way. But despite that, watching just videos, not even motivational videos, just regular videos on YouTube, um, writing, drawing, even. I'm not a good drawer, I just doodle. But writing, drawing, reading books, listening to upbeat music, positive music, that really helps. Interacting with my loved ones, with my friends and my family, that really helps me.
Okay, brilliant. So I'm just going to pick up one of my own questions here again. So tell me something, Virali. We're all in this lockdown right now. You are also all by yourself right now. Do you have
Yeah.
any kind of help with you?
No,
No,
no.
you don't, and you've been managing it all by yourself.
I have become the bai of my house. I have been doing the jharu, pocha,
Wow.
bartan. I have been cleaning my house just because I cannot stay in a dirty house. And like I said, because of transportation issues, my maid has not been able to come. So I have been managing everything alone, and I never realized that I had the capability of doing this. I never realized that. And so, like I said, there is always a silver lining. There is always a silver lining. I never thought that I would be able to take care of my house. And I've been doing this for the past week now, and it's just become easier. I've just become faster. I've just become picked up new hacks. And so it just motivates me even more, like, okay, if I can do this, I can do anything that I want to do. I just need to put my mind to it, and I just need to figure out a way. It's all about adjusting. And if I can do this, then yeah, I can win the Nobel Prize also. Like, that's how my mind works right now.
That's such a positive way to look at it. Great. So we have a question from an anonymous attendee here who says, "What about someone having bipolar disorder? Do you have a motivational message for them? And how can positive thoughts and positive visualizations help them?" So I
Sure.
believe there is a friend of this person who has this problem, and she or he would like to help them.
Sure, of course. That's a really good question. I would just want to say that I am not qualified, or I am not an expert to actually answer this question. But I would just say one thing is, keep this in mind, that this too shall pass. This is just a phase, and I'm really hopeful that you are getting the help that you need, the treatment that you need. And I would say this is a better question directed towards a mental health professional rather than a motivational speaker, because I just don't have the qualifications to help you out, and I would not want to give you any wrong advice. So I'm really sorry that I'm not able to answer your question properly.
Okay, no, that's okay. I mean, we understand. So you were as young as 14, you said, when this
Correct.
happened to you. So now you're, of course, I mean, you've matured with age. You've come to accept this fact. What can you tell us about that time? Because at that time, obviously, it took you a long. It would have taken you a long time to process what was happening, and you were also just a teenager. I mean, how did you handle it then? And
I honestly really did not handle it, because when this happened to me, I was raised as an optimistic person. I was raised to look at the world, like, look at the bigger picture. I was raised that way. I was never raised with that negative mentality. So I was always like, ठीक है, हुआ है, it's happened, it's okay, it will become better. Things will become better. Things are going to become better. I just need to manage each day at a time, each minute at a time. I just need to figure things out. And my mother and my father would really keep me engaged. So initially, when my fingers weren't working, they brought a whiteboard. They would help me draw, they would help me write the alphabet again. So that really kept me distracted from thinking negatively. That really helped me. So distraction was the biggest key. That was what actually got me out of this, what really helped me subdue the depression that I was feeling.
okay, so keeping yourself occupied at this time is, I think, a key takeaway here. So Nabanita here had a question on do you have any three key pointers that you would want to give to the professionals here today, keeping in mind that obviously business is also going to go through a very stressful time, and there are stressful days ahead, irrespective of the lockdown. Even if the lockdown is lifted, there are going to be really stressful days ahead. So do you have any three key takeaways that they can take away from here today on being motivated, on being happy, and taking it on with a...
I would just say that because of this lockdown, a lot of people, we've taken things for granted. We have taken a lot of things for granted. I know that I have taken my maid for granted. Now I'm realizing it. And we have taken our relationships for granted. We have taken our relationship with nature for granted. So I think the biggest thing right now is, please do not after this lockdown take anything for granted. Appreciate every single experience, whether it's negative or whether it's positive. And honestly, no experience is negative. You will always learn something from it. or you will become a better person from it. So I would just say, please do not take anything for granted. Live each second to the fullest. And just remember that any kind of negative situation that happens, it is always for the better. It is always for the better. You will grow and evolve as a person through that. And that growing is necessary. So I would just say, don't take things for granted, please. Please live life in the moment, and please just don't be negative. Don't be negative, is what I would have to say.
Okay. Another attendee wants to ask, do you think age plays a role in garnering confidence and positive energy? Do you think age is a factor?
No. So my dad used to tell me this story about, I mean, it was a very popular forward. I don't even know if it's true, about the owner of KFC. I don't know if it's true or not, but it was basically saying that throughout his life, he had tried so many ventures and they all failed. At the age of 86 or something, again, I may be mistaken. This is a long forward, it was a long time back. He created KFC, and right now it is a chain internationally. So there is never a wrong time to start something of your own, to get that confidence or for positive thinking. There is no age associated with it. You can start at any time. There's never a wrong age or a never a wrong time.
Okay, great, great. That's brilliant. I'm sure they've gotten their answer. Another question has just come in. So someone wants to know your source of earning and how do you manage living and how are you managing everything? How does it work?
Well, motivational speaking, freelance modeling, I'm also a writer. So that is basically my source of income. That's how I earn. Everything else, after like my mom passed away, I remember literally going to the bank every day, sitting with my banker and learning about interest rates, learning about EMIs, learning about loans, mutual funds, all of that. I had no idea. So just learning about these things, talking to professionals, that has really helped me create a budget for myself. It's helped me kind of make my life a little bit more sorted and a little bit more organized. So I've definitely taken help of professionals. And yeah, I mean, so this is what I basically do. This is how I make my living.
Okay, got that. So again, the takeaway: don't take anything for granted.
Yeah,
I mean, as long as your mom was here, you probably everything was left to her, and the tough time taught you on
yeah,
how to manage yourself. That's great,
yeah.
great, brilliant. Okay, so there are many people here, obviously, and because who don't know or are not familiar with the challenges that people with disabilities go through. There may be physical challenges, mental challenges, psychological challenges that they go through. So, how do you think one can be more empathetic towards these people, towards them?
I think just by maybe understanding when you go through a negative situation, when you are in a negative headspace, how would you want to be treated? Think about that for a minute. How would you want to be treated? Would you want to be treated sympathetically? Would you want to be just not acknowledged? Would you want to be ignored? Or would you want someone who is empathetic, who is comforting you, who is trying to understand what you're going through? I think that is the basic principle that we've always learned in school. If you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. Or if you want to be treated a certain way, then treat others in that same respect. So it's really important that we put ourselves in a situation which makes us very uncomfortable, just thinking about it, and then understanding the kind of treatment that we would want or we would expect from someone. And that is how you should treat other people.
Okay. Have you, I'm sure you would have come across more like yourself when you were working on these campaigns, which you just told us about.
Yes.
So you keep in touch and I mean, how frequently and how would you like to tell us something about them?
Sure. So on the campaigns, on the petitions, basically there is an update box where I can update everyone and it goes directly to their emails. And of course, through social media, I update people through that, through my lives also. But if there are specific people that are affected, that really, really want to talk and just reach out and try to understand how they can make things better for themselves, then I directly do communicate with them and try to help them with their issues and sort things out. But usually it's just communication through wider channels is how I communicate.
Okay. Do you have any books that you would like to recommend to youngsters
Oh,
struggling with
yes.
stress?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, definitely, definitely. So there is this book by Gaur Gopal Das called Life's Amazing Secrets. I would highly recommend you guys read that book. That book has just changed my relationships with people and how I react to negative situations. And I think with every situation, it's all about reaction. We understand that we cannot control a situation. So we tend to get into that fight or flight kind of mode where we are all stressed out, we are trying to figure out a solution. That book actually tackles that of how to react to certain situations and how to get out of those situations and how to control your reactions, which is very important. So that book has really helped me. And another book is How to Heal Your Life by Louise Hayes. That book is just phenomenal. I would really, really recommend you guys read these two books. If any book you read, read these two books. And I have to mention this because I am a huge fan, but Harry Potter any day of the day, any day of the week. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, so Harry Potter, hands down.
So are you planning to pen a book yourself?
I'm currently writing a book, yes.
Oh, brilliant,
Yes.
brilliant. And what are you reading right now?
I am not reading anything currently. I am more reading articles. I'm really not a book person. I am more of an article person, reading articles, reading the news or whatever. Positive news, not the negative news. But I like to read articles more just because I tend to get distracted very easily, just because I have like 100 things going through my mind. So I cannot focus on a book all the time. So I tend to read articles.
Okay. I guess you're also busy writing your own book. So what's the book going to be about?
So it's basically a book about my life stories. So that's the only hint that I'm going to give.
Okay, okay. And when do we see it?
Hopefully by the end of this year.
Oh, how lovely. And so what do you do for fun?
I so a lot of people don't know this about me, but I love partying. I'm a huge party animal. So whenever when this lockdown wasn't there, obviously every weekend my friends and I we would either go to someone's house and we would just listen to music and we would just pull each other's legs, play games, or we would go to a club or something and just dance and have a good time. So partying is definitely a way that I let loose with my friends. Despite that, I love binge watching TV series. I'm not a movie person, I'm a TV series person. I love going to the gym. I love exercising. I love working out. I love living a healthy lifestyle. I'm a scuba diver also, so I love scuba diving. Something that I really want to do soon is go skydiving. But yeah, I love these adventure sports. I love going outside and doing something with nature. It really just brings me back to myself. I feel very grounded that way.
Okay. So speaking of the fun things that you do, what does a work-life balance mean to you?
So, work life balance means when you're working, you don't engage in playing around or having fun or whatever. You're actually focused on that. My work schedule is very impromptu just because I have motivational talks maybe thrice a month where I travel for that. Despite that, I'm working from home, I'm taking meetings, I'm trying to organize my schedule, come up with new topics to talk about. I'm also currently recording videos to put out on my social media, trying to engage with people. So it really is all about balance and it really is important. I tend not to mix my personal life with my work life. I tend not to do that. If I'm with my friends, it is my full attention is to my friends. If I'm working, all of my attention is work. That's it.
Okay. So, on a typical day when you're working, what does the day look like? How does the morning start? Do you have a routine to keep yourself?
I do not have a routine, which is very sad. I should have a routine. And that is one of the things that I'll be doing during this lockdown is creating a routine for myself. My schedules are very impromptu. It really just depends on what I'm doing. But the only one thing that is in routine is going to the gym. Working out is the one thing that is in routine, and my eating schedule. That is one thing that I have maintained so far. But other than that, it's very, very impromptu. It just depends on how the day goes.
So, this lockdown of ours seems very unpredictable right now. If it continues for another 15 days, do you, what is your advice to people if it continues? I mean, what?
I would say, please, 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 please follow what the government has to say. That is the biggest thing. Stay home if you don't need to leave unless it's absolutely necessary. But more than that, I feel take care of your mental health, because right now we've been seeing a lot of people getting anxiety with the fact of just staying alone, living alone, especially anxiety, depression. There are a lot of useful links online where a lot of mental health professionals are giving free counseling for like an hour or for half an hour. So I would say, please, if you need the help, reach out. I'll also post links on my social media if you're interested. But please reach out to them, please talk to them, and please get your mental health sorted out, because I know after this lockdown, that mental health, it will be a little bit of a problem. It will be a little bit of a trouble. So please take care of your mental health, is what I'll say. And engage in activities. Continuously keep yourself occupied. Because once you keep yourself occupied, your day will fly by like anything, and you won't even realize that, oh my God, it's already April 8th. Like, I did not realize that until I looked at the calendar. And I was like, wow, we started the lockdown on the 22nd of March. It's already April 8th. So keeping yourself occupied is the key.
Okay. So, we have about 5 more minutes to go.
Sure.
And I just want to ask you for your final message to everyone after this talk. What should people take away from here?
I want everyone to know that after after the monsoon, there's always sunshine. After the monsoon happens, there's always Navratri, there's Diwali, there's Christmas, there's New Year's. So we have a lot of things to look forward to. I would want to say, please do not live in your past. Please do not live in your future. Please live in your present. Appreciate every single moment in your present, because once we go into the future, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, man, things all worked out. Why was I stressing so much about this? Why was I stressing? Instead, I should have just focused on what I was doing instead of wasting my time crying behind a person, crying behind a situation. I could have utilized those negative emotions and those negative feelings and channelized them through a positive medium and I could have created something amazing out of this. I wasted my time. Please don't waste your time, is one thing that I will say, because again, like I said, who would think that an invisible virus can cause the whole earth to lock down? Who can even, who even imagined that? It's happening right now. So live in the present, people, please. And live, laugh, love. That is my motto for life. And if you guys have seen Finding Nemo, Dory says, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming. Meaning, just go with the flow. You don't know what's going to happen. Why try to control every single situation? Just change the way that you react to situations. And the one thing that my mother has always said to me is, if you have a problem and you have a solution, then why stress about it? And if you have a problem and you don't have a solution, again, why stress about it? Everything will work out. Just give it time. And I know, and I am victim to this. I am a huge overthinker. I am victim to this. I've done this. But thinking of these thoughts, thinking of these things have really helped me. So this is one thing that I want to say. And lastly, before I end this, Never ever give up on your dreams, on your passions, on your goals, on life, on people, on anything. Do not give up. Keep pushing forward, keep living life, and keep living life with that enthusiasm that you've always witnessed and you've always wanted. Keep spreading happiness, because a smile on someone's face can just change your day. It can just change your day. So just keep smiling and just keep swimming, guys.
Thank you so much, Virali. I think this was a phenomenal session that we just had, and just want to thank you. And thanks to all the attendees who were here with us today. Uh, we are just going to wrap up with this note from Virali about live in the present, and just live life with smiles. Great. So you can watch a recording of this session if you have missed part of it. It's going to be on the Reputation Today YouTube channel as well. And watch out for the remaining online conclaves, the upcoming online conclaves that we have every Wednesday in April at 6 p.m. So once again, a big thanks to Virali. Big cheers
Thank
to you.
thank you
Keep
so
up the
much.
great work. Thank
Uh,
you.
Before we stop this, can I just quickly say, if you guys want to follow me, Instagram and Twitter, I am available at Virali01. If you want to reach out to me, if you want to follow me, I would really appreciate that.
Great. Sure. At Virali01. She's at Virali01, everyone. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. And we call it an evening here.